Welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother, the Sorcerer Armanasul. Alright, so it's been a good bit. Had a lot of things going on in my life I've been having to take care of and trying to keep everything balanced. And speaking of balanced, so I celebrated my 40th birthday on August 5th, which is kind of cool. Don't feel much different than any other year, though, just to be honest with you. Although it is equated to 40 is the number of physical completion or some such shit. I have no idea. So that's neither here nor there. But the reason I bring up my birthday is because a brother of mine, Mr. Priest of the Necro, oh yeah, Mr. Link, he sent me some books of his that he's been writing. And I told him I would do a book review. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not the kind of person to just flip through a book and then go, okay, and I'm going to make a video of it. Oh, no. What kind of sorcerer would I be if I did that? So what I did was I took my time. I read through his books. Hell, even referred to my own notes of my own gate walkings and workings and things to corroborate some of the stuff in here. Now, today I'm only going to be going over 2 of his books. He has 3 out. But the first book he put out was called Magical Theater. The Psychology That Powers Magical Arts. And I'm going to hold the book up so you can see the name. Nicholas Giet. And I'm pretty sure I did not butcher his last name. I'm pretty sure of that because the L's silent. But at any rate, this book is freaking awesome. If you're new to the craft, if you're new to magic in general, or even if you're seasoned, you will always have to learn basics. The basics of magic, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. But there are fundamental basics that you have to learn in order to actually make it work for you. Now, what he's managed to do in this book is put into English what so many people have tried to. Except the really cool, awesome thing about this book is he made it in the style of a workbook. So, like, we have, like, pages where, for example, where you can fill in. See that graph, the way he did that? So you can fill in your correspondences, things like that. Further in, there are other things where you can put notes. The notes of what you think, of what you believe, of what you feel. Your corroborations or your differences of what you disagree with. But it's all in there. Now, these books, I swear, they remind me of the Necronomicon in one way. Well, actually, in quite a few ways. This book right here gives you the basics and the fundamentals of magic in general. But if you're new to the Necronomicon, it is a must-have. I swear it's a must-have. Because he has just outdone himself. I don't even know how the hell he put this book together. It's so fucking awesome. Anyway, I was referring to the basics, and you have to know the basics of magic and things. Well, even seasoned practitioners have to go back to the basics sometimes. We have to remember that there are correspondences, so forth and so on, and small little details that you've got to remember, And he's done a great job. So this is, once again, one of those books that is for the beginner or the seasoned practitioner. I took a week reading this book, just this one book, and referring to the way I do magic in my works. And I'm not going to lie, a few of the details in there, it changed the way I look at my own works. And one of the ways that it reminds me of the Necronomicon is that it was the only magical grimoire you could buy for $10. Well, Priest of the Necro, he has made sure that this book is affordable. Very affordable. Get it on Amazon.com. Until I get a webcam and can start making my videos from my computer, I won't be able to do links to where you buy the books. But as soon as I can, I will post them on there for you. Also, you can go to Magicology for Priest of the Necro, whatever. Go to his YouTube channel. He's been doing videos once a week on different points of magic. And they go hand in hand with this book. Okay. Now, this book, I don't care if you're into the Necronomicon or if you're just into witchcraft or paganism or whatever. It's just freaking awesome and well written. I'm not gonna lie. I think his time in college and his major, it really shines through in his works, because there's so many times that we as practitioners, if we were to sit down and try to explain or write out how to do things, we may or may not be able to, depending on our level of skill in that area. Well, Nick has done just that, so kudos, Mr. Link. Damn good job. Now, this is my particular favorite book. I can't help myself. I love it. Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. This goes hand in hand with the Simon Necronomicon. So when you got your handy dandy Simon Necronomicon, guess what? Have your handy dandy Priest of the Necro book right beside it. Because in this, he goes in detail of the gods, goddesses, the planets, the symbolism, the correspondences. I mean, just everything is freaking awesome. Look at this. He even has lists of words of what they represent, so forth and so on. This is like, I wished I'd have wrote a book like this. You know, like, I may understand the Necronomicon and I may have it put out the way I have it put out myself. But to actually sit down and be able to do a book like this book is just freaking awesome. Look at this. He even has full pages, blank lines for your ritual details. I mean, everything. It is wow. And once again, $10 on Amazon. Just Nicholas Giet. See? Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. Very sexy book. Speaking of sexy books, let's go back into the Simon Necronomicon. A couple months back, I did a video on ISHNIGARRAB, which at the time I said was, I didn't realize he was a god. I didn't even know who that spirit was working with him. In the last couple of weeks, between reading Nick's books to doing my own stuff medically, you know, going to doctor visits, so forth and so on, getting ready for a CT scan and then a surgery and then the fun thing of recovery, I have some time. I have plenty of time on my hands. So what did I do? Let's try working with ISHNIGARRAB. But see, it wasn't enough just to go with the Simon Necronomicon on ISHNIGARRAB. First, you had to like break his name down to even understand him. Okay, so in Priest of the Necro's books, my brother, states that it is not the Big Dipper constellation that the Dingir are connected to, but the Pleiades, the seven sisters. Now, forever and a day, this was a disagreement between he and I. And then one day, I was doing a rite to Nanib, which is the Dingir of Saturn. And instead, I decided to use the constellation of the Pleiades to connect. Holy crap. Anybody who's worked with Simon Necronomicon, who's seasoned or so forth and so on, you realize that through symbols and then names and then vibration creates the energy and the connection, and it opens the way. Now, I was using the Big Dipper and it was working. I had to it's like I told Link, you know, there were a couple of times when I had to like repeat myself, like I wasn't being heard. And it wasn't because it failed or because I wasn't in the right state of mind, but I couldn't figure out why. And then on my own, after working with Nanib, using the constellation of the Pleiades, and it happened like that, I was like, holy crap, dude is on to something with that. Well, now, if it's the Pleiades constellation that these Dingir are connected to, then why the Big Dipper? What's the Big Dipper about? And then it dawned on me. The Big Dipper used to be called the plow, the scythe. It cuts and breaks open the earth. This is symbolic of the ancient ones, okay? So in a sense, think of it this way, like ISHNIGARRAB. Ab means plow. That's the last part of his name. And then it's Ara, meaning the seal of the covenant, sign of the covenant, breaker of the covenant. And then I went into doing a meditation on it, started working with ISHNIGARRAB more, just, between it, my watcher, and a familiar spirit unto me, was working with it. And I was like, explain this to me, how this works. Who or what is ISHNIGARRAB? Because I know my experience was like, wow, that's a god. Because there's a big difference between spirits and deities. Spirits, whether egregores or just, familiar spirits of, like, said planets or whatever, or whether you're talking about deities, they all have a different energy signature. Each and every single one of them, they appear differently, have different effects. Egregores, spirits, things like that, they require your energy to call them, to pull them, to give them substance and sustenance. But a god doesn't need this. And ISHNIGARRAB, what threw me about ISHNIGARRAB is I never felt my energy being messed with. I never one time felt energy having to be poured into it to allow him to stay or hold place. Now, of course, this kind of spirit was kind of like, not wanting to, have to be stuck in a place for too long, for whatever reason. But anyway, I digress, and I apologize for that, but these are my personal experiences with this particular deity. Now, what I've come to think, theorize, believe, whatever you want to think of it, but once again, belief means set in stone. And it's not really that it's set in stone, but it's solid enough that it gives me the foundation, but not enough to where I'm going to cling to it for dear life. That way, if it shows me something different, I can accept something different from this deity. But connected to the Big Dipper, ISHNIGARRAB, god of the deep. What is the deep? Apsu is the deep. So it is a god of Apsu. Opener of the way. He who releases one from a contract or binding. Breaker of chains. And here's my favorite. Disturbs the waters. I had done a chant where I says, that which stirs the water stirs the soul. ISHNIGARRAB. So not just an action, that is a literal, symbolic meaning of an actual God. Okay? Awakens the sleeper within the primordial essence or true self. Conjured between 1 and 2 a.m. Now, I was given a conjuration of ISHNIGARRAB, and I used this, and this is very nice. ISHNIGARRAB, god of the deep, opener of the ways, hear me. By all that dwells in the depths, hear me. By all that abides within the twilight, hear me. By all that crawls, by all that hides from day, hear me. Make strong all that which is within me. Open the ways of my true self. May I not fear, may I not quake nor shudder. Make clear and open the ways that I may ascend. Open the ways, remember. Clear the ways, remember. Make strong my true self, remember. By the names of the ancients, by the power of my immortal soul, by my will do I declare this, by my words I make it so, so it is, it is. These are the words, and then at the end you think with all your being, I ascend. Because this is thought, not spoken. Now, what's so important about this is that the ISHNIGARRAB video I made is I explained to you. He only comes in the name of the mother and the father, which is Tiamat and Apsu. Which I think this is interesting because that's by the names of the ancients. It's important that that be in there because even though he may appear, he won't be very helpful unless called upon by the powers which he serves. Now, I think that that's very interesting. Now, I put some notes on why the I ascend is thought instead of spoken. The last two words are projected as a thought. It is a nod to the speech in the silence of high magic, where they talk about the speech against the sun, and sun is action and the moon is reflection, therefore thought, not word, because word is a symbol of action. This is contemplation, hence why it is only thought. After having spoken the conjuration, the focus and intent is built up within the self. The I ascend, being spoken mentally, is the lighting of the black flame upon the crown or the horns of Baphomet. And that is what I have, and that is what I wish to share with each and every one of you. I hope that this helps you. Forgive me for being absent for so long, but there are lots of things I must attend to in my own personal life. That being said and done, I wish each and every single one of you peace, blessings, and power. Till next time.